Hong Kong, more protesters take to the streets to defy Beijing, World News.
Here's a summary of the article.
Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets for a 10th week in Hong Kong, demanding democratic reforms and a halt to police brutality. They carried signs that read, "Protect the next generation," and chanted, "Don't shoot our children," in a show of solidarity with protesting students, and demanded police halt violent dispersals of future rallies. Saturday's March of Teachers will be followed by another anti-government protest in Hung Hom at 3:30 p.m., before a pro-government rally is due to kick off at 5 p.m. at Tamar Park in Admiralty. The protests come days after Hong Kong Airport cancelled all outbound flights after a mass sit-in, and a day after the chief executive of local airline Cathay Pacific Airways resigned amid pressure from China to suspend any staff involved in the protests. Anger has intensified in Hong Kong for an amalgamation of reasons during the protests, which show no signs of relenting. UN Commissioner for Human Rights Michelle Bachelet has urged Hong Kong authorities to show restraint in dealing with the protesters. Police in Melbourne were forced to intervene after dozens of counter-protesters joined.
This post received a score of 6,113, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
It'll be interesting to see China's response and the ramifications it could have. I don't think China will invade Hong Kong. They know full well that doing so would lead to harsh economic sanctions, especially with Trump at the helm currently instigating a trade war. Hong Kong's operations as a global financial hub would also cease, causing a global recession. The worst country to be hit by this? China, since a lot of Chinese firms use Hong Kong as a gateway to trading with the rest of the world.
This was largely my takeaway as well.
This news title says more protesters, and I read through the whole article and failed to find how many more they are talking. That's called propaganda. It goes both ways.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but based on the situation I'd say the whole damn city needs to get out there now, or it's going to be quick and easy to haul some demonstrators off to their new life in prison.
Everybody who could afford to left already after the handover or went and got Canadian citizenship and went back to Hong Kong with the safety of an overseas passport after it appeared that the transition wasn't as apocalyptic as feared. There's 300k Canadians in HK. Wow.
My family came into Hong Kong for work because of the insanely low taxes. 17% flat.
I saw a small gathering in my small Canadian city showing support for the HK supporters, but they were literally surrounded by Chinese students who tried to censor them by chanting over them and blocking them with Chinese flags and their bodies. Was really sad to see the effects of the CCP's brainwashing on full display.
They provide their tuition, what do you expect?
God bless HK.
Fuck China.
Everyone in all nations of the West need to push their leaders to cut trade with China immediately. And #X200B. Support ending global trade with China now.
On the other hand, it's also saddening to see such widespread pure hate for just the Chinese, China, in this thread. Lumping a country of almost 1.5 billion people into just one mass that you hate seems like a really harmful and hate-spreading mindset. The Chinese government is at the root of this, both in terms of the propaganda, targeted education of the Chinese to follow along, and yet there are many in this thread condemning all Chinese people and Chinese culture. It worries me when we're trying to push against hate, but our side speaks just as hatefully as theirs does. There are some evil people in China, just as I'm sure there are some evil people in HK. The opposite is also true, and lumping them into one giant, evil, other is not conducive to a peaceful outcome in the long term.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.